Okay, it's started.
Yeah, you can start.
Yeah, Lakshman, go on.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening. Thank you. Let's start with the phrase of 2020. Am I audible? Just asking.
Yes, Lakshman, very much. Continue.
Okay. In line with the topic of today's session, I wanted to start with the foreign opener, but I couldn't pull it off. So I'll start with honesty. I watch volleyball. Though it's an Olympic sport, it is dominant by a couple of Latin American nations. So when I want to watch it live, I face two issues. One, with the time zone difference. I will have to wake up at odd hours or sleep late to watch it live. And the second one is the commentary language. The live broadcasters have their own local commentators, so it will obviously be Spanish, right? So I couldn't understand one bit. I watch it, but still I don't mute the commentary. I hear because I love that. I love those voice modulations. I love the tonality and certain phrases that just sound lovely, but I couldn't understand. I was in a situation where my ears are printing checks that my mind can't encash. So what next? I just went on Google and I wanted to learn Spanish in 30 days. Remember, I didn't Google how to become proficient at Spanish. For me, it was in 30 days. And that sudden adrenaline rush didn't last more than 30 minutes. And I just learned one word, hola, that is a common greeting. So then I understood the importance of organized learning, the importance of instructional design, the importance of pedagogy, and lastly, the importance of teachers who are actually teaching us. With those incremental advancement of difficulties in teaching, right? So all this, I guess, the combination of learning foreign language and with the structured learning is exactly what Department of English is trying to achieve today, and exactly why we are here today. So welcome everyone. Now I'd like to call upon Aisha to formally welcome the gathering.
Thank you, Lakshmi. Language is the roadmap of a culture. Good evening, a very warm welcome to each and everyone present here. Respected Principal, Honorable Chief Guest, teachers, and my dear fellow students, thank you for gracing this occasion. I am Aisha Minan, pursuing first year in BBA Aviation Management. Eventually, this beautiful inauguration on the value of foreign language in a global scenario has arrived. I'm glad to greet all of you present here. Firstly, with great honor and pleasure, I would like to extend a warm welcome to Honorable Principal of our SSMRV College, Dr. S. Anil Kumar sir. I heartily welcome you, sir.
Thank you so much, Aisha.
As knowledge of languages is the doorway to wisdom, it gives immense pleasure for which I deputize, and we are delighted to have Ms. Savita Reddy ma'am, the CEO of InLingua Bangalore. I extend a special welcome to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be with you all today.
A special kind of beauty exists, which is born in language, of language, and for language. Our linguophile, Mrs. Saujanya Diwan ma'am, the event coordinator and head of the Department of English, is here. I wholeheartedly welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you, dear. Thank you, Aisha.
Concurrently, I heartily welcome Sindhu ma'am, Harshita ma'am, and David sir from English Department. I welcome
Thank
you
you,
all.
Aisha.
Hence, it
Thanks
is
a lot,
overwhelming.
Aisha.
Yeah, ma'am. Hence, it is overwhelming that we are inaugurating. I zealously welcome all my dear teachers and fellow students streaming here. I welcome you all. Thank you for giving me this golden opportunity to welcome you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Aisha. An idea turning into a concrete initiative needs constant support and backing. Exactly what our principal, Dr. Anil Kumar sir, has been providing for us all days. Now, Kubra, please introduce and please take over and present the principal's profile.
Thank you so much, Lakshman. I would like to start with a quote. It is always easy to take decisions for others, but it is very difficult to take decisions for ourselves. Good morning, one and all present here. It's an honor and privilege to be able to introduce to you Dr. S. Anil Kumar. Dr. S. Anil Kumar is the principal in prestigious SSMRV College. He has been a popular teacher among faculty and students. He has an academic experience of 35 years in the field of commerce and management, both at UG and PG level. Dr. Kumar has more than 20 years of research experience. He is a recognized guide for many universities for MPhil and PhD programs. He has produced 5 PhDs and 31 MPhils from various universities. He has been doing various UGC-sponsored projects as well. Dr. Anil Kumar is a NAC peer team member who has visited various colleges across India as a part of NAC assessment. Dr. Kumar has published articles in leading national and international conferences. To mention a few, Griffith University in Australia, Howard University in Boston, so on. Dr. S. Anil Kumar has authored 17 books in the area of financial accounting, corporate accounting, service marketing, entrepreneurship development, production and operation management, and GST. Dr. Kumar has been elected Academic Council member of Bangalore University, an adjudicator and a member of Research Committee, Christ University, member of Tourism Committee of KFCCI Bangalore, advisor member of BBMP Roshni. He has been the chairman of Board of Studies and Board of Examination of Bangalore Universities and other universities. The reflection of his hard work and commitment has transformed into various awards, such as Dr. Kumar has been awarded in recognition of dedicated service as a teacher conferred by His Excellency Dr. Hansraj Bharadwaj, the Governor of Karnataka, organized by Rotary Bangalore South and Karnataka Civil Defence Corps. He has been awarded for achieving excellence in education from RSST. He has received Dr. Abdul Kalam Gold Medal Award from Global Economic Progress Research Association, New Delhi, for individual achievement and distinguished service in education and research. He has been a NAC under officer and has won the Best Cadet Award. Dr. Anil Kumar has also been awarded a D.Lit by the University of Panama, US. Dr. Anil Kumar has also been awarded the Best Faculty Award for the academic excellence during the academic year 2020 and 2021 by the Vivekanand College of Arts and Science for Women. Coming back to his key focus areas within SSMRV, his academic innovations like the 360-degree education for wholeness model with 5-dimensional approach, setting up of 27 activity centers are all stronghold strategies which aims to take the SSMRV college to greater heights. The direct impact of the same was our college getting an A grade by NAC for the first time during its 3rd accreditation cycle. It is with pride that we are proud to mention that our college students got many ranks and gold medals in Bangalore University examinations. SSMRV College has recently been ranked 4th among the top 5 colleges in India for the best of value for money in India today MRDA Survey 2018. The list is endless, but with due respect to time, let me contain my few words about Dr. S. Anil Kumar. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Okay. Good evening. I'm happy to see I think we have hit a century. Almost more than 100 participants are there for this webinar. That shows the kind of interest students have shown for foreign language learning. Today, we have a very young and energetic, very eminent guest and speaker, and she happens to be my student. That I'm very proud of her. That she was a student of NMKRV when I was there, and being a commerce to a student, I think she is an example, and she knows so many foreign languages. I'm very happy to have you, Savita. Uh, so it was actually, we were planning for a long time, and now it's happening. I think I'm very happy. And I should appreciate the Department of English, especially Professor Saujanya Diwan, the event coordinator and the head of the Department of English. She has taken keen interest in organizing, more than organizing, I'll tell you, in starting a center for foreign languages, foreign language studies in SSMRB College. The intention of this is to offer as many foreign languages as possible to our students. So this is just a beginning. It's an inauguration of foreign language studies in our institution. And for this, I think we felt Savita Reddy would be the right person to motivate and give more insight on the value of foreign languages, especially in the global scenario, and that too for our own students who are doing BCom, BBA, BCA, and MCom. So I think it will be a great opportunity for all the students of our college to make use of this opportunity and take it forward. So again, I also appreciate all the participants, students from all the courses who have shown interest for this particular workshop, or I can say inaugural function. And immediately after this, there will be classes. I think we'll be starting with the introductory or maybe level one classes in some of the foreign languages. I think you need to fill up the Google form, and you have to show which language you are interested, so that accordingly we can arrange for the classes. So I'm very happy that the Department of English has initiated this Foreign Language Studies Center, and I appreciate all the faculty members of Department of English, Professor Harshita, Professor Sindhuri, and Professor David in organizing this particular program.
Thank you, sir.
I think the students must take this opportunity, and I think you will understand better once you listen to Mrs. Savita Reddy today. So all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, sir. I guess these will be the classes that I will actually look forward to, and also a special occasion, and we have a special person to grace it. Ms. Savita Reddy is today's chief guest. Thanking her for her presence, I would like to ask Atufa to introduce the chief guest to all of us.
A warm evening to all. I, Atufa Rahmat, am honored to introduce to you to the guest of honor for today's webinar, Ms. Savita Reddy ma'am. She has a degree in Masters in Business Administration, MBA, from Mount Carmel Institute of Management, and has passed out in the year 2000, specializing in finance and information systems. Prior to MBA, she is a graduate in Business Management, BBM, from NMKRB, passing out in the year 1998. She is currently the CEO of InLingua Bangalore. She started InLingua in Bangalore in the year 2005 and has been successfully managing the business for the last 15 years, growing it into one of the top language training schools in India. InLingua offers training in English, French, German, Spanish, Chinese, Mandarin, Italian, and other foreign languages to corporates, colleges, and retail clients. She has 2 offices in Bangalore and a team of about 60 members. She also offers foreign language training to students across India through online platform and virtual classrooms. She recently founded another venture called www.languagestation.org, where she's connecting all the language learners and language speakers across the globe and helping them learn languages. Miss Savita ma'am is a Bharatanatyam dancer which she started learning recently and has already given performances in many international and national stages. She is also actively into running and trekking. Yoga is what keeps her fit and going. In her free time, she is into writing, poetry, and painting. She has conducted a few motivational talks to college students, inspiring them to take up entrepreneurship. Over to ma'am.
Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction, Adupa. And thank you so much, sir, for this opportunity. It's a privilege, coming back and studied under you. Whatever we are today was because of the motivation, because of, the teachers that played a role in our life. And we fondly remember Dr. Anil Kumar, sir, more than any other teachers. He played a huge role. And that's one of the reasons I specialized in finance. I took up finance in MBA as well. He taught us income tax and finance and cost accounting. And that's one reason. And that really helped me when I started business, managing business more than any other subjects, the accounts, the income tax. And thank you so much for that. And now coming back, and I think this is going to be a very special this thing, because coming back, it brings back fond memories of our, I'd shared it with my BBM group, and it was nice. And we all have special regards to Dr. Anil Kumar, sir, and it's nice to come back. So thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah.
All right, so I have let me share my screen.
1 minute, ma'am. 1 minute. I'll stop sharing the screen once.
Can you see the screen now?
No, ma'am.
Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
In a foreign language, the limits of my language means the limits of my world. A man who speaks 2 languages is worth 2. A French proverb says, anyone who speaks 2 languages is actually worth 2 people. One knowledge sets you in a corridor for life. 2 languages open every door along the way. A different language is having a different vision of life. So why learn a foreign language? There are many different reasons why anybody can take up. The topmost opportunities are in job placements. Most of the MNCs these days, entire world has become like one global village. There are no boundaries which divide us. I remember when we were children, we were learning, apart from our mother tongue, Kannada, Telugu, Hindi, multiple languages. But now the same thing, I see the kids learning French, Spanish, right from their primary school itself. So gone are those days where it was limited to a particular geographical location. Now entire world has become like one global village, and foreign languages have opened up a lot of opportunities. There are many businesses, and you take any business today, they have something or the other to do with some region, either Europe or US or Australia, some part of the world. And most of these businesses, most of these MNCs actually prefer to hire people who speak more than 1 language. We have seen in our past 15, 16 years, it's like whenever there is a mention of a foreign language mentioned in the resume, in the interviews, a lot of people, when they see that mentioned in the resume, they get interview calls and they have an edge over other candidates. Even once you get into a job, the career growth opportunities, there is an edge. We have seen a lot of people getting promoted just because they had a knowledge of a foreign language. So it means they can interact with teams from different parts of the world and different teams within the organization. And we have also seen people with a knowledge of foreign language command higher salaries. There was one graduate who was doing a simple HR job. She learned German with us. Immediately, Amazon offered her not just 20%, 40%, but then more than double her pay. And then she was happy for 2-3 years. She worked there. And it's not just minimum 20% to 40% increase, but most of the time we have seen their salaries double or triple also, especially in the entry levels. They command huge salaries, people with foreign languages. Career in foreign languages. There are many different careers people take up as trainers, translators, interpreters, content writers, language specialists are in great demand, especially now when things have opened up and most of the classes, most of the businesses are working with multiple regions. Opportunities abroad, especially work and study abroad, travel, immigration. We will come to details of it. And just saying hola or bonjour, you're no longer a stranger. I mean, wherever you are, it's like it connects people with each other. Benefits of learning a new language apart from the professionals, we have the academic benefits. I mean, people who take up foreign languages in their schools, colleges. There are huge benefits when you take it up. It's like studying a second language brings in a lot of cognitive benefits. So we have the academic benefits, we have the professional benefits, mainly to do with career, job opportunities, career growth, and things like that. And apart from it, the cognitive benefits. They say it's like when you're trying to pronounce new words in a new language, it forms new neural pathways in the brain. So it boosts the brain power. A lot of studies and research have shown that the IQ improves. So the memory skills improve, the ability to multitask, it sharpens the mind, the decision-making skills goes up. And as and when you become aware of the nuances of in a new language, your first language, we have seen people improve their English language or their other languages also because they become aware of how a language works. And they consciously make efforts to understand how the structures of the different vocabulary fit together and work together. So we have seen an improved communication skills in their other language, especially English language as well. And students who have taken it up in their school or college, we have seen an increased improvement in their other academic areas as well. Like I keep telling people, it's like being healthy is very important, right? It's like we do a lot of exercises to keep our body fit. What about the brain? What about the mind? Because that's also very important. So learning a foreign language is like an exercise for the brain. It helps, I mean, when you try to remember those new words, try to pronounce those new words, it's like it improves the functioning of the brain. So a lot of research, a lot of studies, again, time and again, have proved the importance of learning foreign language. Even at any age group, we see it's like, I mean, studies have proven that Alzheimer's, dementia, many, what do you call, challenges that older section of the people who face this can be overcome if they start engaging their brain in either studying a foreign language or any activity which makes use of their brain. So now some of the important facts, it's like 77% of the British exporters believe they lost business or they lose business because they cannot speak other languages. According to the British Chamber of Commerce, over 60% of corporations, companies who want to do a business in a foreign country don't do it because they don't have enough people, multilingual employees. The US Department of Labor says 42% increase in demand for translators and interpreters over the next decade. In India alone, 160,000 is the number of foreign language professionals required in India, and this number is growing. And from last 1 year, this number has almost doubled up. It's growing day by day because the business opportunities are opening up and it's no longer limited. Now, especially things have gone online, both the universities, studies and work being done virtually, this number is fast growing because we need people, we need professionals. The world requires, the business requires professionals who can speak and understand different foreign languages. It's a USD $14.4 billion market. So it's a growing market. There is a huge growing demand for people who speak foreign languages. And coming to the job opportunities, there is a demand for language trainers and language specialists. Language specialists are the people who work in, you name any of the companies. We work with most of these IT companies, including Infosys, Mercedes, Merck, the pharma company, Oracle, Siemens, and we are working with Wipro and most of the leading IT companies in Bangalore and in India. And they have different teams working on different languages. They have their invoicing, finance related jobs being processed here. And they're all called as language specialists. They're the people who work in the back end here. And like, for example, we work with Amazon, and Amazon has set up a huge 500 to 1,000 member team working on the German, their German website, preparing their German catalogs, brochures, and the team sits here in India and does all the work for their German website, for their German business from here. So they're all called as language specialists. They sit here. Like, for example, HP, we train them in about 6 different foreign languages. There is a team which sits here and processes all their invoices, bills, all their emails that come from different parts of the world. They take it up from Bangalore. So they're all called as language specialists. So most of these MNCs require people who speak these languages. There is a huge requirement in translations. If you take up any website, any business, it's like they are now reaching out to customers across the world, and translations is where the content is translated into multiple languages. For example, Amazon, I mean, where we have trained their people in German language, they have their website in different countries in different languages, but their backend team could sit here in India and do all the translations for them. We've also got inquiries from most of this animation industry where the subtitling, most of the movies, most of the documentaries, the Netflix, and they come with subtitles, and they require the people who can translate this. Transcriptions mostly in the medical industry and now in the animation and other sectors where the voice, whatever the doctors say, it has to be recorded, it has to be put it in words. So that's in the transcription industry. Interpretations, when there is a live translation that's happening. Say, for example, sometimes we have this visitors coming here, Japanese coming and visiting their counterparts here, and they do not understand English, or the people here want to be translated to Japanese. So there are people who are called interpreters who translate this language live when it's happening. So they are called interpreters. And right now, content writing, SEO, branding, blogging, YouTuber, podcasters, speaking, and mostly international sales and marketing. It's this area is growing. There is a growing requirement for foreign languages specialists, research analysts, field researchers in the field of HR and recruitments, and also in international correspondence, journalism, PR, and most of the jobs with UN, WHO, UNESCO, embassies, diplomatic services, government agencies, intelligence services require people who speak either French, German, Spanish, or one of these foreign languages. In the publishing industry, most of the books, most of the texts that are being published, there is a huge requirement. Entertainment industry, animation, aviation sector, tourism, medical tourism. We see there is a year on year, this requirement is growing. So these are some of the areas where there is a requirement for foreign language specialists. Which are the industry sectors? The IT, BPO, KPO, knowledge process transferring, manufacturing sector, the health sector, medical tourism, telecom, e-commerce, investment companies, foreign banks. In the education segment, in the education, NGOs, we see a lot of NGOs also approach us. I mean, they receive a lot of funding from one of the sources in Europe or different countries, and they have their volunteers come from there and work here, and they have to submit back their documents and things like that. So we have a requirement there. Again, in the aviation sector, tourism, hotel industry, there is an increased demand for people who speak foreign languages. And which language to choose? Now, globally, there are thousands of languages. As per one of the estimates, it's about 7,000 languages which are spoken globally. And out of which, the most widely spoken languages in terms of their spoken numbers are, the first one is the Mandarin or Chinese, or what we call Mandarin Chinese. Mandarin is their older dialect or the spoken language, which we call it Mandarin, are most commonly known as the Chinese language. Because of the population of China, Mandarin today is officially the most widely spoken language globally. And then followed by English language, because English has sort of become official language in most of the countries. And in terms of the number of speakers, this is. And then it's followed by Spanish language. Spanish is spoken both in the American continent and Europe. And so Spanish stands next. And in many of the countries, yeah, Spanish is the official language. And then followed by Hindi language, mainly because of the population of India and the number of people who speak in the Asian subcontinent. Hindi comes next, followed by Arabic language, Bengali, again in terms of the number of population or people, Russian, Portuguese, and Japanese, German, and French. So this list the top 10 languages in terms of the number of speakers. But then if you look at the economies, we will come to that. It's the order is German, French, English, Spanish. But otherwise, depending on the most widely spoken languages, this is the list. So these are mainly the top 10 languages which normally people take it up. The most popular languages to learn as per the demand in the current market scenario. English, of course, I mean, for most of the Indians, it has sort of become like a second language or even a first language, because most of us are exposed to English more now than ever before. And followed after English, it's the French, German, and Spanish, which is most commonly learned, are most commonly offered in most schools, colleges, and even companies, and job requirements are everywhere. It's French, German, and Spanish, all three of the languages. Then followed by Japanese and Mandarin language, mainly because the Japanese and the Chinese economy is doing well. They're considered to be the business opportunities of the future, right? I mean, a lot of people trying to do business with them and a lot of opportunities opening up in the future. So many people have started learning or taking up a language, Mandarin language. I mean, we keep hearing reports about how parents in US households have started training their small kids in Mandarin language right from now, because they feel that since the Chinese, not just in the number of the population, but also the economy, since they're doing well, it's considered one of the, I mean, it was considered one of the future languages. So Japanese and Mandarin, a lot of takers preparing themselves for the future. And apart from this, the other languages where we see good opportunities for work and business are Korean, Italian, Swedish, Russian, Arabic, Portuguese. These are the languages that there are job opportunities. There are opportunities for people to take up these languages and there or get into a job or do a business with one of these businesses. Now, coming to the French language, of all the languages, we see French as one of the top languages, especially for students to pick it up, because there are opportunities for them when they graduate and take up work. French is an official language in about 29 countries. It is estimated to have about 110 million native speakers and about 190 million plus more people who speak French as a second language. And it is the first language in France, like we all know. In Europe, it is spoken in Belgium, Switzerland, Brussels, Luxembourg, Italy, UK. In America, Canada, it's the official language of Quebec and Canada. We see a lot of students who come to us to learn French. People who are immigrating, were going to Canada on an immigration visa. It's as per the visa requirements, it's a must that they need to have a French language certificate. So, in America, yeah, Canada, and even in Africa, about 31 countries have French as a language there. Majority of the world's French-speaking people are surprisingly in Africa. And French is also the official language of all United Nations agencies, and large number of international organizations use French. Apart from English, it's the next language which is most widely used is the French language. It is estimated that about 500 million French speakers will be there by 2025, and approximately 7% of the world's population will speak French. So of all the languages, most of the Indians prefer is the number one, which tops the list as of today, is the French language, because of the numbers and because of the opportunities it throws up. French is followed by German language. German is one of the world's major languages and third most used language on the internet. Even though if it's not by the population, but then when it comes to the language of the business, language, official language, are mostly on the internet, it's like a third most used language. And Germany is the third largest industrial nation in the world, and also it has the fourth largest economy. So that's where German language has a huge demand, followed by French. Estimated to have about 100+ million native speakers and about another 128 non-native speakers are as second language speakers of German language. And the European Union, it's the most widely spoken first language across Europe, different countries in Europe, not just limited to Germany, Austria, Switzerland, Luxembourg, Belgium. And it's also spoken in North America and some parts of South America, and some certain regions in Africa, Namibia, and parts of Brazil, and parts of other this one. So German holds importance mostly because of their economy, mostly because of the business this thing, and most of the universities in Germany offer their higher education at a very subsidized or free of cost. So there are a lot of Indian students who travel abroad and they require a certificate for their masters there. And most of the businesses, if you look at it in Bangalore and India, have something or the other to do with Germany. And there are a lot of these German-based companies in Bangalore, whether it's Siemens, Bosch, Mercedes, or any of the other Indian IT companies also have got some business to do with them. So German language, especially in the business and economy-wise, there is a huge demand. So German comes next, French and German after English. We have the Spanish, which is with about 495 or close to 500 million speakers. And today, in terms of the number of speakers, it's the second most widely spoken language today after the Chinese language. It's also the official language in about 21 countries and is one of the official languages of United Nations and also official language of the European Union. And it is the third most popular internet language behind Mandarin and English. It's spoken in most of the countries like Argentina, Chile, Colombia, Ecuador, Guatemala, Mexico, Panama, and Venezuela. So apart from the American, the Europe, and also certain parts of Africa, there is a Spanish-speaking population. So we have Spanish, which and Spanish, what we have noticed is, most of the schools offer here, and most of the schools and colleges students we have seen pick up Spanish language, because Spanish is also considered one of the future languages. Because what happens with school and college is, especially school, it's like people are not immediately applying for jobs, right? There is a time gap, next 5 years or 10 years by the time they are job ready. So we are also seeing it's like in the next 5 years or 10 years, which economies are doing well, which languages are spoken most, or which businesses are doing well. And accordingly, some schools and some people start planning which language to choose. Otherwise, French, German, Spanish are equally popular and have equal opportunities. Followed by Japanese language, which is like the 9th most spoken language in the world. There are about 130 million speakers, and we all know it's an official language in Japan. And mainly Japanese language is of importance because it's the third largest economy in the world. After so it's like because of the business opportunities, because of the economy, and it's also the 4th most widely used language on the internet today. And it has an influential position in the automotive industry, the financial, communications, research, economics, engineering, robotics. And Japanese spend hundreds of billions of dollars every year in consumer goods and services, food, clothing, travel, entertainment. So the economy is doing really well, and that's where the opportunities for people who speak Japanese language is growing day by day. Earlier years, we had not seen much of a use for Japanese language, but in the last 2-3 years, we have seen a growth. And this will continue to grow. And this is considered as one of the future languages. It's also spoken in some parts of US, UK, and Brazil, about 7 million users. So mainly because of the economy doing well and the dollars, the billions of dollars they spend on consumer goods and services, Japanese language, the demand for Japanese speaking professionals is increasing day by day. We have the Mandarin language, which is most widely spoken language in the world, with about 1.4 billion speakers, not just millions. This is in billion speakers. Mandarin, as we know, is an official language of China, and apart from China, Singapore, Taiwan, Cantonese, Hong Kong, Macau. It's also spoken in Tibet, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Thailand, and it is one of the 6 official languages of United Nations. So that's where the importance of Mandarin also comes. Second largest economy in the world after US, then we have the Chinese, and then the Germans, Japanese doing well. So they're growing leaps and bounds every year, and especially in the last 1 or 2 years, they've grown even more. Their economy is growing. Chinese is the #1 most spoken language, other than English, and people call it a good investment for a personal and professional growth in the future because of the opportunities, the business opportunities it opens up, and because they are growing year by year, year on year. So now coming to a little bit details about the languages where it's spoken. So in the North America, it's mostly English, and we have the Spanish, French, and 1% of them speaking Chinese language. Otherwise, Spanish is spoken in the Latin America, and mostly Spanish, and then Portuguese. And in the Europe, we have Russian, and then German, Turkish, and English. Then comes Italian, French, Polish, and Spanish language. Africa, it's mostly, we have French and Swahili, which is their native language. But Swahili is sort of coming down, and there is French, usage of French and English language there. Around Asia and Pacific region, we have the Chinese with 34%, mainly because of the population. And then we have the Indian languages, Bengali and Hindi. And we have Japanese and Indonesian and other languages. So this is how... So French is spoken both in North America, Africa, and Europe, parts of Europe. Spanish is both North, South America, and Europe again, Spain. And you see the blue star where it's German language, mostly in Europe. And the Chinese, both in China and also part of North America. And so that's about the regions where they speak different languages. Now, coming to InLingua, maybe we will cross this, and I'm not sure if I should share about InLingua, but then we will skip this. And
you can, ma'am. It's okay.
Okay, maybe I'll just give a very quick this thing. InLingua is today, it was started in the year 1968 in Bern, Switzerland, and today it's a 50-year-old organization, and there are centers in more than 40 countries, 320 centers, and today InLingua is the world's leading language training organization, one of the world's most successful language training organization, and also the world's largest network of privately owned language schools. And so there are licensed centers in India, in Bangalore, Delhi, and Chennai. And what's unique about InLingua is the methodology that they've developed in the last 50 years to teach a language. And most of these languages are, the terms are dictated by the ALT, the Association of Language Testers in Europe. The curriculum is provided, and the exam and the testing is as per, most of the international language schools would do it, follow the Council of European Frameworks curriculum, and do their exams and testing as per the ALT, and InLingua's levels correspond to them. And some of the InLingua certificates, like the German certificates, are recognized for when people apply for visas. There is a mandatory requirement. And so some of these certificates, I'll explain which are the other certificates which are used. It's mostly Goethe certificates and TestDaF and Alliance Francaise certificate and InLingua certificate, which the embassies accepted. And so Yeah, some of the advantages some of these language schools bring to is like apart from the certificates, the methodology are the students would be able to speak right from the day one. Like, I mean, some of the methodologies which language schools use is how we learnt our mother tongue, right? We first start with by listening and speaking, and then comes reading, writing, and then grammar. Most of our language trainers actually are not like, I mean, we do not use grammar inside the class. It's more of practical or functional use of the language, which makes it very interesting to learn a language. Otherwise, as adults, our minds sometimes switch off when it comes to straight grammar. However, we address those aspects through examples more than explanations. It's like I can say, am I speaking right now? Will I continue to speak for some more time? So can we call it speaking? Or if we say it's like, did it rain yesterday? So can we call it rained? So instead of saying a present continuous tense or a past tense, through examples, we teach all the grammatical this thing without using the grammatical terms. So these are some of the advantages where the traditional language schools bring in. Now, coming to the most important this thing which you people need to understand when it comes to languages is, most of the languages, like I said, the CEFR, the Council of European Framework for References, is what gives out the curriculum for most of the language schools across the world. And as per them, the languages are divided into level A, B, and C. A is like for the basic level, B for intermediate, and C is advanced level. Again, level A is divided into A1 and A2. Because we know it's like language learning is, takes some time. It's not like immediate. It cannot be learned just in a day or in a week. It takes some time. So because the duration was very long, so they had to again divide it into A1 and A2. So most of the languages start with, whether it's French, German, Spanish, we always say the first level is German level A1, then comes level A2. So that means that's the basic command of the language at the basic level. Once you clear the A1 exams, you're eligible to go to the A2 level. And once you clear the A2 exams, then you can go to the B1 and B2 level, which gives you a good command on the language in a range of familiar situations. C1 and C2 are considered advanced level. What we see is in most of the situation, the A1 and A2 levels give a good command. And some companies prefer B1 or B2, but up to B2, I think it's a very good command. You can easily speak fluently in the language and you can speak accurately in the language without making mistakes. C1 and C2 not necessarily required for any kind of job or travel. I mean, yeah, some companies, depending on the nature of work you do, they take you up to C1, C2. Most of the companies also, once you have the basic command of the language up to A2 or B1 or B2 level, they provide further training or continuous training to keep you up in speed with the language. So C1 and C2 is an advanced level, and people at C1, C2 actually can become trainers and translators. Translation requires a very high efficiency in language. So you require that kind of skills. Otherwise, for most of the job and this thing, A2, B1 or up to B2 is good enough. There is another association of language testers in Europe, or ALT. Most of the exams are conducted in guidelines are as prescribed by the ALT, Association of Language Testers in Europe. And these are the two international organizations which give out the curriculum and which standards which most of the schools, language schools follow. Now coming to the German, French, and Spanish, the duration of level A1 is, on an average, it's about 60 to 80 hours is required to spend. But there are some schools, some trainers who do it in a slightly lesser duration, and some people even do it in a slightly longer duration, go up to 100 hours or maximum 120 hours even for the level A1. It's just about, yeah, the more practice you get depending on the number of students, the time available. But in an average, this is just to give you an idea how much time goes into preparing for each level. And for the level A2, it slightly goes up to about 100 hours. B1, some of these languages like French and German, the B1 level is again divided into B1.1 and B1.2, especially in French language, to make it easier for the students to take it up. So it goes about 100 hours, 100 plus hours. Then we have the B2.1 and B2.2, again, German language, sometimes to make it easier for the students to study. It's they've divided into different levels, again, two parts. and about 120, 140 hours. And now coming to the exams, like I said, there is this Goethe exams are called as Goethe certificate. It's Goethe Institute is from the government of Germany. So the Goethe certificates are universally accepted. It's a government organization, government run language school. And it's a very old language school, 100 plus years. So the certificates, and Goethe is very well known for their exams and certificates, are universally accepted everywhere. Then we have the TestDAF, again for German language, conducted by some organization in Germany. Then we have the TELC. And for French, we have the DELE and DELF exams conducted by Alliance Francaise. InLingua is a private language school, but it's an international language school. So some certificates for some visas and categories are accepted. But InLingua is a private language school, whereas Alliance Francaise and Max Muller Bhavan or Goethe are government organizations. And so that's the difference. There are a lot of students who study at InLingua. For exams, they go to Alliance Francaise or Goethe. So sometimes, yeah, you can study. Some students take it up in their college. They study there. For the exams, yeah, they can take it up in any one of these examination boards. And once they have a certificate, some of the certificates are about, like, I mean, on an average, about 2 years validity is there. But most of the certificates are open and valid for lifetime. But some universities or some jobs might ask you for a certificate which is lesser than 2 years old. Otherwise, some languages, it's like open or accepted. Once you have a certificate, it's sort of like you have the language skill with you throughout life. It's you can use that certificate throughout life. Sorry, it went. And then we have, where are the certificates required? So it's mostly for the visa when students are traveling abroad, either for a student visa or for a job visa or for a spouse visa or a dependent visa. Some countries, especially Canada, Germany, insist on a certificate. Without a certificate, they don't even give you a visa. So in case if any of you are planning to go abroad for higher education, you might require, I mean, depending which country, which university. Some universities ask for, when you apply for admission to foreign universities, they ask for a certificate. Some jobs are maybe immigration and things like that. That's where a certificate is required. Otherwise, a knowledge of a foreign language, if you have a certificate, I mean, you can mention that in your resume and then apply for jobs. And then there is a, I mean, it's depending on the nature of jobs, there is a different requirements that, I mean, different testing process or different requirements. Otherwise, mostly, yeah, certificates are mandatory for the visa and applications to foreign universities and for immigration purposes. Now, coming to the Mandarin and Japanese language. Japanese language, unlike A1, A2, they have a different nomenclature. Japanese language starts at N5 level. It's called the JLPT level N5, and then the N5 is the basic level, then comes N4, N3, N2, and N1 is the highest level. Likewise, for Mandarin or Chinese language, we have the HSK. HSK is the short form for their language, Angsho, the Hong Kong board, examination board. Otherwise, they start with level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the duration, again, for what happens with French, German, and Spanish is the script, it's mostly English-based characters, right, the alphabets. But for Japanese and Mandarin, you'd have to start learning an entirely different script. So sometimes the duration might be a little higher compared to French, German, and Spanish, especially if you're learning both writing, reading, and then applying for the exams. And the examination boards are the JLPT, Japanese Language Proficiency Test exams. They are the only body whose certificates are recognized for travel to Japan or to China. And for Mandarin language, we have the HSK board. They conduct exams once in 3 months or once in 6 months, or mostly twice a year for Japanese exam. The dates are announced on their website. And students, whoever has prepared for those exams, can go write an exam and get a certificate. And using that certificate, if they're traveling or applying to universities there or for visa, for job purpose, the certificates can be used. Like I was telling in the beginning of this one, in today's Bangalore Times, I mean, it was a good coincidence that Education Times, the supplement in under Bangalore Times, carries a nice article about why being multilingual is helping youngsters find varied jobs. So right now, what we have seen in the last 1 year or 2 years is a lot of people, there is a lot of change happening everywhere. There is, I mean, in the business, this thing, a lot of it is remote working, and wherever technology or automation, whatever repeated process is there, no, it's getting, the technology is taking over, including our business. We automated a lot of this processes and systems. Most of the regular jobs are now sort of taken over by the artificial intelligence or the technology. So a lot of job changes are happening. And most of the time, I mean, we are already into the 21st century, and a lot of changes are happening as we speak. And sometimes it's like in the next 2-3 years, 4-5 years, we see the business transforming even more. So this is where the students, if they're ready with the 21st century skills, are being more flexible, more adaptable, and people who have I mean, a knowledge of different skills, including languages, multiple languages, are finding it easier to move from one job to another job or take up opportunities. There are both full-time, part-time, work from home opportunities, and there are different opportunities that are coming up. So in language skills, we have seen this is one opportunity. It's like, yeah, a lot of people are getting into it, and a lot of job opportunities are opening up as we speak in various sectors. And yeah, so it's available in today's this thing. And I think, yeah, I've covered most of this one. So thank you so much, and open to any questions. Maybe I can take your questions and answer if you have any questions. And
yes, thank you so much, Savita ma'am. Any questions, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
good evening, Savita ma'am. Ma'am, I have a
evening.
query.
Yeah.
So, me being an aviation student, so what do you say, which is the next foreign language I can choose for? Which is the best?
All right. Yeah. So in the aviation sector, aviation is one sector where I think languages play a very crucial and important role. I mean, I was just reading an article in the morning today. It seems it's like most of the sometimes it's like the communication differences between the pilots, air traffic controller, the people in this thing, right? Because it's mostly international. That has actually caused a lot of incidences and accidents. There was one pilot who couldn't use the word emergency, and the air traffic controller didn't understand how important that the fuel shortage that the flight faced. This was, I think, in 1990 when one of the Pan American flight crashed. It was mainly because of the language differences and things like that. So aviation sector is one area where yeah, language is important. I think French, German, Spanish, because they're most commonly spoken languages, more widely spoken than other languages, have an opportunity. French and French, German, Spanish are the languages, yeah, which are in popular demand there.
Right, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So, ma'am, what do you say if I'm, interested and want to work for any Middle East country? So there, Arabic is really, compulsory or mandatory, right? So other than English, then comes Arabic when I'm choosing or opting for Middle East countries, right?
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks.
So, ma'am, to enter corporate, B1 is enough, I guess. B1, B2. So, what levels you suggest as students to be proficient in a language as such?
The basic is the A1 and the A2 level. Yeah. And next comes the B1 and B2. So either B1, up to B1 is also okay. A lot of visa and jobs taken at B1 level. And some jobs like doctors or nurses who are going to Germany now are looking for a B2 category. Slightly advanced sectors require the B2 level. So either B1 and B2 is a good enough job requirement.
Okay. Okay. So they can communicate well when they come to B1, I guess, no? B1 and B2.
Yeah. So what happens in A1 and A2 is A1 is they get a very basic command where they
Yeah,
can
the alphabet, numbers, and all that. Yeah.
And A2 they gain a little bit of fluency, but their accuracy could be a problem where they can continue to make some mistakes and things like that. When you're at B1 and B2, you not only speak fluently but also accurately, also without many
with
mistakes.
Confidence. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
things like that.
Okay. Any other questions, students? Please clarify. Okay. So, Lakshman?
Yes, ma'am.
So, ma'am, we would like to associate with you soon. And I guess all our students are ready to join the classes and learn new languages. So, yes, over to you, Lakshman.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Savita, ma'am, also for that speech. During the onset, again, one more story time, sorry. During the onset of COVID, my dad had a series of Zoom meetings. And one day he told me, this meeting could have been one email, there was no necessary. But I kind of accepted that. But today, after listening to you, it just hit me is that, words and voice have their own, charm. And no Times New Roman font can replicate that magic. So thanks a lot again, ma'am. And now for the person who gave structure to this idea and initiative of foreign language studies of today's event, Saujanya ma'am, please share your thoughts on this initiative.
Yeah, definitely learning foreign language is fun. And as ma'am also spoke about the opportunities, wide openings in corporate sector, if you want to take up, if you want to be trainer also, you have lots of scope on that. So I finished till B1, Savita ma'am. So I'm taking up my B2 as well. So it's really fun learning. I'm doing French. I've taken up French. So French is a beautiful language. It's a musical language. So I suggest all of you to take up foreign language for your career prospects, and language anytime is fun. So learning new language is always, nice, fun. So this is what I wanted to say. Since I have started learning, I thought of this for you people as well. So I hope it will help all of you. Yes, Lakshman.
Right on. Mercy.
I guess Harshita is also into foreign languages. She can also share her experiences.
Bonjour.
Harshita, you there?
Yes, I am. Bonjour, and thank you, Savita madam. It was truly inspiring. Probably as soon as we start associating, more of our kids are going to join with you, and they are going to, reap a lot of benefit out of this engagement. Thank you so much. And yes, kids out there, language learning, irrespective of which language, foreign or indigenous language, you have to learn language. Any language for that matter, have command over it and have confidence and go for it, kids. Wish you all the best. God bless you. Thank you very much. Lakshman?
Right on. Mercy, Saujanya ma'am and Harshita ma'am, this is the thank you in French because ma'am learned French. So now coming to the end of the session, I would like to call upon Varsha Balaji to propose a vote of thanks.
Good evening to one and all. Multilingualism has become more than just an essential in today's world. Being able to communicate in a language other than your native language has proven to be incredibly beneficial. Being able to converse in a foreign language helps to build a real connection with individuals and provide a deeper grasp of your language, whether from financial or social standpoint. Thank you, ma'am, for giving us a basic overview of foreign languages and the importance of foreign languages. Thank you, ma'am, for motivating us with prolific examples and the areas of prime focus. You enlightened us regarding the most spoken languages and gave an idea to us what language holds prominence. Gratitude is one of the least articulate of emotions, especially when it is deep. It is an honor for me to have the opportunity to present vote of thanks on this inauguration. I, Varsha Balaji, on behalf of English Literary Association of SSM Mavi College, extends a hearty vote of thanks to Ms. Savita Reddy ma'am for enlightening us about the importance of foreign languages. Thank you, ma'am. I extend my thanks to our Honorable Principal, Dr. S. Anil Kumar sir, who has always been supporting and encouraging. Thank you, sir. A special thanks to Ms. Saujanya ma'am, Head of English Department, for organizing this inauguration function. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
I extend my gratitude to all the faculty of English department and other faculty members for joining the session. And a huge thanks to Mr. Gokul sir for the technical support. Thank you, sir. And lastly, I take immense pleasure in extending my sincere thanks to all the participants for your active participation and cooperation in making this inauguration a grand success. Thank you one and all.
Okay, a link will be shared in the chat box. Kindly, yeah, Kavya has shared it. That's a registration link. So I request all the students to